About the Depression in Chicago. Can someone read the objective for me, please?
Students will understand how the Depression affects Chicago.
Okay, so we're on page 22 in our Chicago books. Before we start, there are some words that we need to know. The first word is population. Does anyone know what population is?
Somebody's popular.
Not quite.
Population means when people know about it.
Not quite.
The
Number.
what does that say?
Number.
Number of people living in the area.
Correct. The population is always talking about the number of people that lives in a certain particular area. The next one is prejudice. And we talked about prejudice earlier today. Anika?
Judgment and evidence.
Advance. So it's when you're judging someone before you even know them. Suffer. Sakia?
To experience negativity.
Negativity. When something hurts you, when you go through something bad. Involved, Gavin?
To be a part of included.
To be a part of something or included in something. Like we are all involved in the classroom. Government, Jemima. To run those who run the city and make the laws. Office. Marcel.
Those work for the government.
The people who work for the government. And community. Tori.
These who live in a common area and share common interests and concerns.
All right. So now that we know those words, let's dive right into our reading. Paragraph 1.
The Depression and Recovery. In the early 20th century, the population of Chicago continued to grow. Thousands of African Americans came from the South looking for jobs and freedom from prejudice. In 1920, over 44,000 African Americans lived in Chicago. By 1930, that number of climbed to more than
250. So I have a question. What was the motive for black people relocating to Chicago? Torian.
Like to get away from slavery
Get away from slavery. China.
and want to
No, China. So anyone with another answer?
they went to Chicago because that in the other state that it had some like slavery and another reason they did it because they didn't want to be pushed around and bullied. They moved from the south to the west to have jobs and freedom. They moved to the west so they could get away from slavery and don't get killed by it. African Americans wanted to be free, like their prejudice, so that they didn't have to be African Americans sneak away from the South. They don't want the whites to see them because the whites see them, they will go like the whites will like beat them.
So what I'm hearing is initially black people were coming to Chicago to escape slavery and their slave masters because they were afraid of what the white people were doing to them. But then when slavery was over, they were still being treated unfairly. And so black people came to Chicago to be treated better and to find jobs to make a living for their families. Is that what I heard correct?
Yes.
Okay, let's go on to the second paragraph.
In 1929, the Great Depression started. Many people around the world lost money and jobs. Many people in Chicago lost their jobs, and African Americans who just
immediate effect. I mean, what happened right after the Great Depression. Diane, you can start off.
What happened after the Great Depression? It got more exciting more than it was. Like many people, like they lost their jobs, they lost money. They was happy because they got money, and because mostly in the Great Depression, stores started closing because no one had money to buy, so they started closing.
So what's happened?
After the Great.
Oh, but I mean, right. But we're talking about right after it happened, not after they built back up.
They
But
was feeling like Arthur. They was feeling a little bit happy. After that, they moved to Chicago, and other people suffered too.
so suffering, is that happy?
No, that's sad.
So you think people were feeling sad?
Yeah.
They were struggling. Why were they struggling?
Because they lost their jobs and they lost money to work for the office.
So we think because of the Great Depression, people lost jobs, people had no money, people were hurt, sad, and suffering. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay, awesome. We're right on track. And that third paragraph.
Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected president of the United States in 1932. His biggest goal was to end the Depression with new ideas. President Roosevelt helped the United States slowly recover while he was president of the Depression ended, and the United States became involved in World War II. After World War II, the soldiers came home and started working again. So businesses grew. Chicago became even larger than it was before.
So let's see if we can figure this one out. Are you ready?
Yes.
Compare Chicago before, that's that first paragraph, and after, that's that last paragraph, the Great Depression. So we're making a comparison. Let's in our head like make a Venn diagram. What distinction can you find? What's the difference?
People was
I'm in Torrey. Let's wait.
earlier the population began to grow, and like now because the Great Depression is now starting to go down. Okay, no, people was happy before the Great Depression started, but after the Great Depression, people was feeling sad, I think.
Okay.
And the only person who did it was Franklin D. Roosevelt. And
I love how you're citing textual evidence. Go ahead.
And he was the president of the United States in 1932. In the Great Depression, people was more sad than it was when it was last February. But because of him, they made him more happier and excited than it was before.
And that's that exciting you were talking about before, but we hadn't quite got to that, right? Awesome, awesome. So, are we ready to move on to our writing prompt?
Yes.
Okay, can someone read the writing prompt for me?
In your opinion, was it easy or hard for Chicago to recover from the Great Depression? City, textual evidence.
Cite textual evidence. So using these paragraphs we just read, these things we talked about, do we think it was easy or hard for Chicago to recover from the Great Depression?
I think hard.
You think hard? Okay. So I want you to find some text on page 22 to support that when you write your writing prompt.
I think it's hard too because first they started to lose their job, and then they started losing money, and then they started losing money, and then I think it's hard because it was just one person who tried to end.
One person who led those efforts. So you think it was really hard for that one person or really hard for the city?
Really hard for that thing.
For that one person. So make sure that's what you focus on.
I think
right?
They're like,
And then imagine that it's not just you, Julian, but it's everybody. So, you know, sometimes when your money gets a little low or your food gets a little low, you can always go ask who? Friends or maybe grandma or auntie or your family, right? You can go to their house and eat. But what if it affects everybody and nobody has food?
it's there. That you can earn money back.
Yeah, some people do steal, but is that the decision we want to make?
No.
That's probably not a wise decision.
Leave it right there.
Yeah, we could go back to the old caveman days and go catch our food, correct. But thankfully, as Dr. pointed out, one man decided to change, right? To start to recover.